Hi guys, this is Renaissance Man. I'm just doing some late night playing around on my Moog. I hadn't used it in a while. I've been busy with learning guitar and other stuff. But I came up with this really cool track just by screwing around with the settings. So what I have here on my Moog 37 blank patch, no presets. I have the arpeggiator set to just the standard rate, about 130. Then on the other settings, what I have pattern just set to that. The biggest thing I found on working on the synth is the LFO and the modulator and the filter affect what kind of sound and effects you get out of it. So here the LFO rate and the modulation source for the first oscillator affect a lot of the things, and same with the pitch. And so on the modulator, if you change the LFO rate, it really affects it in the source, what type of wave you're going to have, like a triangle or sawtooth. And then the oscillators, I've been experimenting with different types of wave shapes and octaves and seeing what kind of sounds I can get. And then on the mixer, that affects it for both oscillators, and if I want to use white noise, I can get white noise as well. And then filter settings really affect a lot of the sound, and of course the envelope generators, what type of attack, decay, sustain, release you have. I didn't really find that really affected the type of sounds I was getting. I pretty much had it on arpeggiator mode most of the time, so it repeats the pattern. But if you notice how cool it sounds when I press the key. Then the other thing is the pattern on the Sub 37. You can change it to different settings based on the keystroke order. I just do on an ordered approach, so from versus random. And of course the arpeggiator. But I'm finding the LFO rate, low frequency on. And the modulation source. So that affects quite a bit. And then on the second modulator, we can change these settings as well. So you get that really fast sound. You set it high. So on this, sometimes the other modulator takes precedence based on what settings you have on the Sub 37. And if we change, right now, it's on a, it looks like it's on a pulse type wave. Triangle. I think that's triangle. I always get these symbols mixed up. I have to reread the manual again. So this looks like a square. I think that's a square. I think this is a... That's kind of cool. This thing is so much fun. That kind of doesn't give me much. There you go. But I noticed the filter is one of the most important things. So lower filter I found for bass sounds, higher pitch sounds the filter. So on how much is cut off and allowed. And a lot of it's contingent on what type of modulation you're using. So it depends on the wave you're using. Some waves will have different sounds. So here I'm actually changing the filter from 20 hertz. It's in hertz. See, hear the sound? So filter is really important on synthesizers. And of course the low frequency oscillator and the source. So we have two, on the Sub 37 we have two LFO, low frequency oscillators. And also, any of these settings really makes a big effect. Pitch amount. So if you change the pitch amount, look at that. And the filter amount. So if we change the filter amount for the first LFO, and then we go to the second LFO, we can, what happens is they interact. So that cuts, and we're not changing the type of wave, we're keeping it on the same type of wave. But if we go to the filter, that makes a big difference. So if you want like a bass or a drum type sound, you want the filter to be like a lower setting. Or like a drone type sound. And if you want like a higher pitch, or like a buzzy type sound, you would set it to a higher frequency. So the reason I mention this is I'm starting to get into modular Eurorack synthesizers, and this stuff is even more important because you have to know all this so you can get sound out of a modular and any synthesizer. And I like this Sub 37. I'm glad I started with this instead of a Eurorack setting because it has everything pre-built, and I can kind of just learn as I go of how filters work. Filters are so important. I didn't realize it till I was playing around with it tonight because it had been a while since I used my Sub 37. But the filter will affect oscillator generally. So tonight I was just messing around with this, and I got like all types of sounds, from drums to bass to video game sounds. And I didn't use any presets. I just messed around with mostly modulation. So mostly the LFO for both oscillators and the pitch amount. See that? Look at that. I just changed the pitch. And the filter. So you can't hear it because it's too low. And I also, I have it low because it's late at night, so I don't want to minimize it. But this is just amazing. We'll change the octave. So what I like to do, can experiment, have like one octave setting for the first oscillator, one type of wave. So right now they're on the same type of wave. I think that's a, trying to think, I have to read the manual again. So I set that. So it's kind of a nice drone sound that I see a lot of people have these $20,000 Eurorack systems, and I get the same sounds as they do out of their $20,000 Eurorack systems. And Moog Sub 37 wasn't cheap, but it's like great system. I just want something smaller for the road. There we go. See, I increased the pitch. So I get that video game sound. It sounds really cool. Now if I increase the filter, it kind of opens it up a bit. And it's kind of cool because you have the filter amount on this pitch amount for the first modulator. You also have it for the second modulator. Wow, look at that. So I set that really high. So you can change the wave. That sounds cool. And we go and lower the filter. So you can't hear it, but I'm going to see if I can get it on a waveform where I can actually hear it again. Let's try this. There we go. So I had to increase the filter because I have the filter set really low. So I'm trying to see what happens in a really low setting. And right here, I have the filter open up. And if I change the pitch, that sounds kind of cool. So yeah, this is like, I found the two most important things so far, just from using this synthesizer, is the modulation for the low frequency oscillator, and of course the wave shape for the oscillators, and also the filter. I mean, you can get so many sounds just like messing the filter. One knob, you can get like 100 million sounds if you really use it right. And then octaves, of course. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change some modulation. Increase the alpha rate for the second one. Lower on the first one. And then here, put the pitch amount again. So you get that weird sound of increasing the pitch. Wow, that was cool. That sounded like something out of a 1980s video game. So I get no sound on the filter, but so I set the filter to 0. Now watch what happens. So they kind of are inverse relationship. But if I come back here, jack up the filter, lower the pitch. So my point is just two things, just like one knob has so much effect, the filter and the modulation for the oscillators. So anyways, I hope you found this helpful. I really love synthesizers, and I love guitar too, but my first love has always been synthesizers. Please subscribe and leave your comments, and hope this was enjoyable.